Welcome to DNA-TVISION. This is my story.
I'm stepping out tonight. Gotta get myself right. I gotta shed some light.
What's up, everybody? And this is another episode of DNA-TVISION. And today I have someone that I've been knowing for a long time. She's like a big sis, Miss Corine. What's going on?
Nothing much. What's going on, Danny?
Glad you dropped by, man. You said you wanted to inspire some of these young ladies with your story, help change their lives so they won't make the mistakes that you made. So let's get to it.
All right.
What's your earliest childhood? Where you grew up at? Earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory would be on Franklin Street, right by the tracks. I was 2 years old, standing in the doorway, butt naked, and I witnessed my sister and my cousin kill a cat inside of a purse. They smushed it with a
Franklin,
brick.
what is it? Franklin.
If you come down 4th all the way to Franklin, you make a right. It was some sharpshooter apartments.
Okay.
Right by the tracks.
How many was it? It was in the
maybe
house.
4.
How many?
People.
Your mom?
My mom, my sister, and myself. My little brother wasn't even born yet.
Okay. So
From there, I remember Hagel Street.
Hagel. Was you in elementary by then?
Nope. Let me back up. I was in elementary at Price. On not Eleanor, but what is the name of that street? Rockwell.
Okay. So how was the younger years?
Oh wow, they were good.
The young years.
And they were bad.
Hey.
When I was about 7 years old, my mother lived on Hagel, and my sister and my brother, we all lived with her. And she was going through a life transition.
So ACO was here at this time?
He was here at this time. And we were single parent home. You know, I remember my mother having a volume of encyclopedias and a King James Holy Bible on her table. And I would read the Bible. At that age. I would also read the encyclopedias. And it would always take me somewhere other than where I was. And I enjoyed that time. I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed learning at that time in my life. It wasn't a lot to do, you know. This was the early 70s.
Okay, so you and your sisters and brothers, y'all get along?
Yeah, we did, but we fought.
Yeah, that's what that's normal, but y'all got along for the good most part.
Yeah.
What middle school you went to?
I went to Vincent Middle School.
For the whole, just 6, 7, 8?
6, summer 7th. I had moved to Houston with my dad, and I went to Hollop Middle School.
So was your dad always in the picture?
No, he was not. But he would come, not even sometimes, just periodically, here and there, every 7 years, every 5 years, you know.
So you moved to Houston with him?
For that year, that school year.
6, 7, and some 8. So how was those years? Where was y'all staying at? Y'all staying still on Hagel?
We were living by that time in Virginia Manor.
Virginia Manor.
Manor Mall.
You had came back from Houston or before?
I had came back from Houston.
So you were in the 9th grade or?
I know. I was going to the 8th.
At Vincent, going to Vincent.
Going to Vincent.
Okay.
And at the end of that school year, 8th grade, I was pregnant.
Okay.
I was 13. And I actually gave birth to a son that September. So when it was time to go back to school, I was still pregnant. You know, I had made 14 in July, and having him in September, I was a brand new 14-year-old mother. Brought a baby home and looked at it and
14 years old.
Didn't know what to do.
You still a baby.
Yeah, but mama made sure that I was going to take care of that baby. She did not want me depending on her for everything. Then that's how I learned how to become a mother.
And how was that like? What was that?
It was very, very challenging because the baby part is the easy part. It's when they get older and you have to shape them and mold them into this citizen of the community who's gonna be somewhat normal and good, you know.
So what? We're in the 8 now. You what? Did you finish? You're in the 9. Did you keep going to school?
Yeah, I kept going to school. I went to it's a post office now, but it was called Giles. Oh, look, Daddy, remember?
Come on now. Come on now.
It was called Giles. It was a school for pregnant girls.
Okay, we used to have football practice back there.
Oh, okay. So it was a handful of us. One of the Vietnamese that do nails. She was one of the ones 14, 15 and pregnant. And I saw her in Beaumont so many years later. It was crazy. But after I had him, I went to the 9th grade campus. And after I finished my time at Giles, I went to the 9th grade campus. And the guys were like, boy, that's a nice looking girl. And some of them was like, hey, man, she got a baby. Stay away from her. Yeah, Lil Brooke.
Oh, Lil Brooke.
It was just Lil Brooke.
So what was going on in 9th grade with a baby?
Yeah, I got in a fight. And it was my first time meeting Coach Guidry when I went to SAC. You know, and it really didn't. It didn't help me. You know, I got worse from that.
So did you finish high school?
I did finish high school. By the time I was 15, I had 2 children.
Okay.
But eventually, I did get a GED. I didn't walk across the stage to get a diploma, but I did get a GED, and I did go to college after that. And I didn't get a degree, but I would love to go back and finish that.
So, around what year would you say you kind of like fell off into the streets?
I want to say after the death of my brother.
After the death of ACO.
Yes.
So you think that was one of the reasons, or?
It could have been Tuesday. Yeah. It could have been raining.
Yeah.
When you are looking for something to do, and I want to reiterate Leo on the guidance thing. You know, when you are being disciplined and catching whippings and understanding what not to do, you need guidance on what to do.
After that.
Yeah. You know, and that's where the lack came
he made a big point on that.
He did, and I appreciate that.
Our parents whooped our ass, and then that was it after that. They went in the room and we was here. They didn't talk to you about nothing after that, but so the day of, not to cut you off, the day you got that news, do you remember where you was at by the ACO?
Yes, I was living on Harriet Street, and I was pregnant with my son Shaquille, and the girl he was with at the time, who he had the baby with, Nikki, she came to the house and said, Corine, Aaron has been shot and they won't let me get any information. Can you come with me to the hospital? And right then and there, I'm freaking out. I'm crying. I'm holding her, and I still had a little baby. I had a set of twins and one passed, and one survived. And I was holding him. I was grabbing on her, and I was really nervous because I didn't know whether he was going to remain with us and be injured or if that was the end. So we went to the hospital. Well, actually, we went pick my mother up from work. And then we went to the hospital. She and my mother and myself. And when we got there, we just saw how everybody was in the foyer. And they were looking really sad. And when they brought us in the back and told us that there wasn't nothing they can do, that he was dead, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Slid down the wall, and I just couldn't compose myself because he was so young. You know, he was 19. And he has a daughter. You know, the young lady was pregnant at the time, so I just figured, hey, let's make up with the daughter what we didn't do with him.
Yeah, he was, ACO, he one of the first people used to cut my hair.
Yeah, he cut a lot of people hair in the hood.
Well, we was on that, I was telling my girl, me and ACO was on that JTPA program.
I remember.
It came out, man, we got fired from every job.
Was it High Tone or High Note or something you guys worked for? It was
Miss Randall was like over Keith Randall's mom. Miss Randall.
Katie?
The little short Keith Randall. He had got locked up for a long time. He went to Oldham with us, but his mama was over that program.
Yeah.
And she put me and ACO at the bus garage. We got fired from there. The administration office used to be right there in South Park. The little building right there by the fire station.
Yeah.
She sent us there. We got fired from there. And she just told me and ACO, hey, y'all just go to the career center every day. We used to go one day out the week, but she told me and ACO to go every day, man. But anyway, yeah, so that happens. And, man, what's going on? I remember the day of the funeral. Man, what was that like?
Oh, it was terrible.
I know it was.
I was so confused as to why would, of all the people that would get shot and killed, why was it my brother?
Yeah.
You know, and later on I ended up finding out why, and it sufficed. Yeah. But at that time, the initial shock of putting your loved one in the ground is just
it was
it's unthinkable.
My boy. But,
yeah.
So now we are out of high school, and oh gosh, I have 3 children, probably one on the way. You know, it was 85, 86, 89, 91, 92, 93, 94. So I was pretty much pregnant all this time when I had left school, you know, because I couldn't graduate. But then when I got back on my feet, I was able to go and I was able to get my GED. And I went to Delta Career Schools, and I was certified as a health service technician. And that's where I am in the health field. Okay.
That's what I do. I take care of special needs people.
So how many grandkids you got?
14.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
How they make you feel? When you look back.
You want to know the truth? It makes me feel like everything that I didn't know as a mother when I was raising my children, I already know. So I have an advantage of how I'm going to handle my grandchildren. Yeah. It's already an advantage because you've been through motherhood. So grandmotherhood is just like you skate through it.
What would you want to tell these young girls, these out here?
Well, the main thing I would like to tell them is to make sure that you love yourself and that you respect yourself and that you have some value and some character about yourself. For the simple fact that you can't wait for people to validate you. You can't wait for somebody to say, okay, here's your shot. You know, you have to make your own waves, you know, and I regretted not being able to play volleyball. I love volleyball. You know, I regretted not being able to, I wanted to be the head of the FBI at one time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I like the law. I like figuring out things, you know, and that's why I watch so many murder shows.
Decisions, man, in life can...
Well, and life throws you a monkey wrench, and then you put your own monkey wrenches in with that, and it's a hot mess. So the maturity and the learning experiences that I have had, I can say that it's truly been a blessing that I've come out of it alive and unscathed. I thank God I don't look like what I've been through.
So now, when we done made it through the storm and we got grandkids.
Well, when I only had 2 grandchildren is when my drug problem was so bad.
Okay.
I had to make some decisions, you know, as far as my sons were all gathered together to go get in this vehicle and to go to whatever crack house I was at to beat up some people, you know. No, I can't have that. Then I got these 2 grandchildren by my 2 daughters, you know. I didn't want to keep living like that. Something had to change, you know. And I'm so glad that it did change because I know 2 women that I ran with in the streets. They're both dead, and they both died tragically. One was shot up at a convenience store, and the other one was found burned on the side of the road. And I hung with those women. I could have easily been with either one of them, you know, when tragedy struck. But thank God I'm still here. you know. So I would tell these people out here, you know, your life is not nothing to play with. It's very valuable. Time is very valuable. Don't waste it.
You get cut short, snap of a finger. So now we married.
Now we're married. I's married now.
I's married now. How long you been married?
This December 21st, it'll be 10 years.
To who?
Mr. Shay Wingate.
That's baby.
That's baby.
Tell me about your husband.
Oh, Lord.
What made you want to marry your husband? What made him? What made him?
I don't even know if you want to hear this answer.
I mean, you know.
You may not want to hear this answer.
Hey.
I didn't pick him, and he didn't pick me. The Lord put us together.
Hey, why wouldn't I want to hear that?
Because people don't really realize that. Yeah, I'm not saying don't go find somebody attractive, but we tend to want what we see.
Yeah.
We don't know what's in the inside. We don't know what's down the line, but the Lord does. So by him knowing his path and his background and his future and mine, he was able to conglomerate something really beautiful that I would have never chosen. You know, I stayed looking on the outside, and that was my biggest problem. You know, so he's perfect for me. He makes me laugh. I make him laugh.
Yeah.
You know, we hoorah each other. It's good for the relationship, you know. And
really, man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
He is a preacher.
Uh-huh.
He is a gospel rapper.
Okay.
And he is the owner and CEO of Chief Stone Records.
Chief Stone Records.
Yes.
Check him out, man. I'm gonna check him out.
Yes.
Check him out, man. Is there anything else you want to say, man, before we let you go, man?
Well, yeah, I just want to, you know, appeal to the younger people about anything that has to do with religion, politics. You know, don't let those things worry you. Mm. These things we see around us, you see people reacting to them. You know, well, they have a mass murder around. I gotta go get me some mace. I gotta go get me a gun. I gotta go get me a knife. You know, and you may not even use it for what you need it for, because here it is, you have a temper too. Somebody that got out of line, you done did something you gonna regret the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You know, so instead of preparing to be ready, stay ready. Don't have those things to where it's gonna affect you in a way. Trouble is so easy to get into, and it is hell getting out of. You know, like another thing I heard Leo say, you know, you get in trouble that one time for that one incident, it's gonna stay with you the rest of your life. You know, look, Michael Vick. Every time somebody mentioned his name, they're associated with what? Pit bulls, dogs. Yeah, so you want to keep the stain off your name. You want to keep, you want to have a pleasant life, you know, and that's my prayer, that everybody has a pleasant life. You know, whether it's a good one or a bad one, just make it pleasant, you know.
Well, we sure appreciate you stopping by.
I appreciate you having me.
Dropping these jewels and these wisdom, because these young girls needed to hear this, and maybe your story will change their life, and just, hey, man, make your life present. And we appreciate you, baby girl.
I hope so.
I'm stepping out tonight. Gotta get myself